boom. That's how it works out. You sweat.
He used to break the knife.
Yeah.
He used to knock him down.
Heavy puncher.
The heaviest?
Yeah.
His strength was his everything.
Yeah.
And like this, and so, and so he pulling the big old truck on his shoulders and all this and stuff like that.
Reached out and called him several times just to talk. Good guy. George is a great man.
Boxers have expressed profound admiration for the late George Foreman, reflecting on his awe-inspiring power and enduring legacy. Legends such as Mike Tyson have openly acknowledged Foreman's unparalleled strength, with Tyson dubbing him the hardest puncher ever. Foreman's power was so extraordinary that he reportedly broke heavy bags during training sessions. His punches were devastating, striking fear into opponents who dared to face him in the ring. Even in his later years, Foreman continued to dominate, knocking out elite fighters and solidifying his reputation as one of boxing's most formidable and dominant champions.
Floyd Mayweather used to just stand in front of the back, right? Just like that, 40 minutes. Throw a couple hooks.
George Foreman too. Just hit the band. Boom. That's how it works out. You sweat.
He used to break the knife.
Yeah.
He used to knock him down.
Heavy puncher.
The heaviest?
Yeah.
See, I thought that was you.
I can't match somebody's powers with that big and that much mass. The only thing that allowed me to be excited because I do it faster than other guys.
More explosive. How did you explode like that? Was that natural?
No, nothing's natural. It was nothing about me natural. Only my desire to win was natural. I had a great teacher.
Did he instill that desire in you, your coach?
No, only you can do that.
Yeah.
You're born with it and somebody can elicit it out of you.
Muhammad Ali held George Foreman in high regard, commending his unwavering determination and confidence inside the ring. Ali recognized that Foreman never shied away from a challenge, consistently fighting with relentless power and tenacity until the final bell. Even though Foreman fell to Ali in the iconic Rumble in the Jungle, he left everything in the ring, showcasing his extraordinary strength, indomitable heart, and true warrior spirit.
Just before the fight, I'm looking at him. I said, "Sucker, you are in trouble tonight. You are fighting the greatest fight of all times. You heard I was the greatest, like you just said you heard this, now you see it." I said, "You said I was the greatest, but you're gonna see. I'm fast, sucker. I'm gonna burn you up. You're fighting your idol." I talked through the whole fight. I said, "Come on, sucker." I said, "Show me something. They told me you could hit hard. You're just a sissy. Come on, sucker. Show me something." Oh, I grabbed his head sometimes and I said, "Look at you. Round 7. And you're tired. You have 8 more rounds to go." And he's just throwing them. He's breathing. I said, oh, you finished, boy. You are in trouble. I said, "You don't have but 2 chances, slim and none."
In 1973, George Foreman stepped into the ring to face Joe Frazier in what would become a legendary showdown. Frazier, the reigning heavyweight champion, was renowned for his relentless fighting style and had previously triumphed over Muhammad Ali. However, Foreman delivered a performance of unmatched dominance, flooring Frazier 6 times in just 2 rounds. The bout ended in a technical knockout, with Foreman claiming both the WBA and WBC heavyweight titles. This stunning and one-sided victory sent shockwaves through the boxing world, as few had expected such a decisive and overwhelming outcome.
Whoever is scared of anybody in the ring. Now be honest. Ali? I mean,
it's strange. I wasn't afraid of Muhammad. I lost the title to Muhammad, but I remember Joe Frazier. He was the toughest guy I'd ever seen.
Yeah.
Smoking Joe Frazier. My mother watched him fight on television, and he hit a guy so hard the guy turned his back. And I kept thinking, I want to be champ of the world, but I sure hope Joe Frazier died. It was time to fight Joe Frazier. And I knew if you hit him, he liked it. If you miss him, he'd get upset. And I'm thinking, what am I going to do? But I had this habit of staring guys down. I look them in the eye to psych them out. If they dropped their head, I knew I had an advantage. But I was hoping Joe Frazier wouldn't drop his head because my knees were shaking. At that time, I wish I had even started that.
After a decade-long hiatus, George Foreman made a surprising return to boxing in the late 1980s and early 1990s. Many skeptics questioned his ability to compete at an elite level, citing his age and extended time away from the sport. However, in 1994, at the age of 45, Foreman defied all expectations by defeating the previously undefeated Michael Moorer to reclaim the heavyweight title. This extraordinary feat made him the oldest heavyweight champion in boxing history, a record that still stands today. Foreman's incredible comeback is celebrated as one of the most inspiring stories in sports, proving that determination and resilience can triumph over the passage of time.
Been throughout the years, if any, or would you like to share a little bit about that?
Well, George and I have always spoken to each other cordially. I've reached out and called him several times just to talk. Good guy. George is a great man.
Evander Holyfield, a former heavyweight champion, has reflected on the daunting challenge George Foreman posed in the ring. Holyfield described Foreman as the hardest puncher he ever encountered, emphasizing his extraordinary strength and unique training methods, such as pulling trucks to build power and endurance. Holyfield also shared the physical toll their fight took on him, including losing teeth during the bout, a testament to Foreman's devastating power. This experience further solidified the respect Foreman commanded among his peers, cementing his reputation as one of boxing's most formidable forces.
Like a world apart going into this fight.
Well, George Foreman always promoted his strength. His strength was his everything.
Yeah.
And like this, and so he pulling the big old truck on his shoulders and all this and stuff like that. And so, I had people talking about, well, he did this, he did that. I said, look, hey, boxing is not all box strength. I said, no. I said, he got to try to hit me. I said, he's slow as Christmas. I said, he's slow as Christmas. I said, he's not fast. I said, so he throw these big shots. But the difference is that he got good timing. And so that's what I realized, because I pulled back, and by the time I pulled back from the shot ain't got done yet. Bam! I bring my head back because that's how slow he is. His timing, but he got right time. He know that you gonna come back at the right time when because he's supposed to be gonna miss me, and I come back.
Bam.
When I come back, it's coming. Oh,
yeah.
Right? So I realized, okay, then I got to dance around him a little bit and pack him like this. And so the whole big thing about boxing is making the guy come forth while you punching at the same time. That's how you can maximize your power on him. And I was able to do it sometime, but he was a good disciplined fighter. He didn't lose all this energy on me. He was able to push it off with the big arms and maul me. He kind of mauled me in the corner a lot. I couldn't even get out. He was so much stronger.
Renowned boxing trainer and commentator Teddy Atlas has frequently lauded George Foreman, regarding him as one of the most iconic figures in boxing history. Atlas has underscored Foreman's extraordinary power and distinctive personality, both inside and outside the ring. He has also highlighted Foreman's remarkable ability to reinvent himself, evolving from a feared and dominant boxer to a beloved and influential public figure. This transformation, Atlas noted, showcased Foreman's versatility and timeless appeal. His admiration reflects the profound impact Foreman had on the sport, as well as his enduring legacy as a truly unique and unforgettable presence in boxing history.
Redemption is a powerful word. It's a scary word, it's a powerful word. I know it firsthand. It's very powerful. Very powerful. And he had redemption on his side. George Foreman was a special man. Michael Moore was a special man. George Foreman got put into retirement by Muhammad Ali, really Jimmy Young, but Ali did it. And Ali broke down the monster that night in Zaire. He exposed the monster. He broke down this Herculean fighter that could knock down, walls. And he broke him down. And he made him live with that. He retired. He had one more fight. He got beat by Jimmy Young. Then he retired for 10 years. And he went into the church. He went into, God's work. And during those 10 years, he suffered privately. I know he did. he suffered privately what happened in Zaire. Because in some ways, maybe similar to Tyson, but I think he was stronger than Tyson in other ways, ultimately. But very similar, and similar backgrounds where they came from.
Boxing journalist Gareth A. Davies has celebrated George Foreman's extraordinary accomplishments and his legendary standing in the sport. Davies crafted a striking comparison, suggesting that Foreman merged the explosive power of Deontay Wilder with the ferocity of Mike Tyson, encapsulating the strengths of both fighters in one. This analogy highlights Foreman's unique combination of raw power and relentless aggression, qualities that made him an intimidating force in the ring and a defining figure in boxing history.
He was covering the Rumble in the Jungle in the 70s, 74, 75 when he fought in Jamaica, and he fought in Venezuela, in Caracas, when he fought in Zaire, Kinshasa, when he fought Norton, when he fought Frazier, and he just absolutely eviscerated them. You've got to remember what this guy achieved as a boxer, first of all. Won the Olympic, like you said, rightly said, in America, he's one of their greatest athletes. Won the Olympic gold for them in Mexico in 1968. As a real neophyte boxer, rather like Anthony Joshua did in London, where he hadn't had much of a career. You think after that, he turns pro, he beats Foreman, he beats Frazier, he beats Norton, and then he gets beaten by Ali. He's like Deontay Wilder and Mike Tyson rolled into one at the time. He's just destroying everyone. He's one of the biggest punchers of all time. I have interviewed him. I don't know how many times I interviewed him. Many times. And always through Bill Kaplan, his PR guy, who was his PR guy from the age of him being 18. And Bill's in his late 80s, and still PRing him to this day, this very day. It's a really sad thing because, like you say, what I wrote earlier on was that he filled up a room, big booming laugh, but not trying to command attention.
Commentator and podcast host Joe Rogan has often emphasized George Foreman's extensive and highly successful boxing career. Foreman accumulated a professional record of 76 wins, with a staggering 68 of those victories coming by knockout, and only 5 losses. Rogan famously referred to Foreman as a beast, underscoring his dominance and the sheer intimidation he brought to the ring. This description captures Foreman's legacy as one of the most powerful and accomplished heavyweights in the history of boxing. Significance of George Foreman's victory over Joe Frazier. Frazier, who had previously defeated Muhammad Ali, was regarded as one of the premier heavyweights of his era. Foreman's ability to not only overcome Frazier but to do so in such a commanding fashion, knocking him out decisively, cemented Foreman's standing in the boxing world. This dominant performance underscored Foreman's extraordinary power and skill, solidifying his reputation as a force to be reckoned with in the sport.
I want you to pull up George Foreman knocks out Joe Frazier. Oh, it was crazy. I thought Frazier was gonna die. He knocked him off his feet. That was a crazy one because that was when Joe Frazier just beat Muhammad Ali. Yeah, and then you see what Foreman does to Frazier, and everybody thought that Foreman was going to crush Ali, and they were scared. The power is so extraordinary that if he catches you at all, he thumps you with that jab, and then just swings at you. Oh, look at that uppercut. Oh, my God. Look at that right hand. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Look at that uppercut. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh my God, it's power. And here it is, boom. For the 5th time he's down. This is crazy, this fight. Boom, boom, boom. I mean, what a warrior Joe Frazier was.
ESPN analysts have lauded George Foreman's resilience and lasting appeal, emphasizing that he was never someone to be underestimated, whether in his boxing career or his post-boxing pursuits. Foreman's remarkable ability to reinvent himself, including his highly successful ventures outside the ring, most notably his iconic grill line, allowed him to transcend his boxing fame. This adaptability and charisma endeared him to fans worldwide, making Foreman a beloved figure far beyond the sport and highlighting the multifaceted legacy he continues to leave behind.
Let's talk about that guy first. Tell us about the young George Foreman.
Well, if you look at boxing as a continuum, he was somewhere between, he was the scary guy. So he's between Sonny Liston and Mike Tyson. And You know, Joe Frazier was about as tough a guy who's ever laced up gloves. He put him down 6 times. And I think that really crystallized Foreman's reputation as invincible. Everybody, you know, who's going to put down Joe Frazier 6 times? And it set up the Rumble in the Jungle, arguably as famous a fight as ever there was for all.
After a decade-long retirement, George Foreman staged one of the most remarkable comebacks in boxing history. Many skeptics dismissed his return, believing he was too old and out of shape to compete at the elite level. However, in 1994, Foreman silenced his critics by knocking out Michael Moorer to reclaim the heavyweight championship at the age of 45. This historic victory not only made him the oldest heavyweight champion of all time but also captured the admiration and hearts of fans around the globe.
About Foreman than perhaps anyone else is the idea you cited before of reinventing yourself. It's uniquely American, but it's never been done this way in boxing. It wasn't just coming back as a preacher and a pitchman and selling hamburgers or grills or whatever it was. It was more purposeful than any of us knew as far as boxing. The previous oldest heavyweight champion, I believe, was Jersey Joe Walcott, who won when he was 37. Foreman came back when he was just shy of his 46th birthday, I think 2 months shy. And in doing it, it was his own kind of rope-a-dope that night against Michael Moorer. I'll never forget it. He took punches. Moorer was a really skilled guy, and he just beat him up for 9 rounds. Moorer did with a great right jab.
During the 1970s, George Foreman was regarded as a relentless and unstoppable force in boxing. Unlike the charismatic Muhammad Ali or the tenacious Joe Frazier, Foreman rarely displayed emotion in the ring. His icy, aggressive demeanor and crushing punching power made him appear almost machine-like in his dominance. Many fans saw him as the bad guy of boxing due to his sheer intensity and the way he mercilessly dismantled his opponents. His brutal victories over Frazier in 1973 and Ken Norton in 1974 only solidified this image. However, this perception stemmed more from his quiet, no-nonsense personality than any actual malice. After making history by reclaiming the heavyweight title at 45, Foreman continued to compete for several more years before officially retiring in 1997. His later years in the ring, coupled with his transformation into a beloved public figure, showcased a different side of the man once seen as an indomitable force.
You know, he didn't just reinvent himself. He was a bad guy who came back as a guy who was universally loved. That's a very difficult thing to do in any piece of life.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he basically changed everyone's mind about himself, and really a remarkable life. Our boxing commentator, Mark Kriegel, sharing some memories, some insight into George Foreman. Mark, thank you. George Foreman, born in 1949, has passed away here in 2025 at the age of 76.
That wraps up today's video. Be sure to stay tuned for more. We'll see you next time.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. For more exciting videos, make sure to hit the bell icon and stay updated. Subscribe to Boxing Hub now for all the latest in boxing.